Hello. Okay, that's loud. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. Today, we're going to talk about StakeWise V3 and how this protocol can enable anybody to stake on their own terms. Now, I'm conscious this is not my first presentation on StakeWise V3, so if anyone's seen a previous one, don't go anywhere. We have got some exciting news to announce today, so stick with us. But first, I need to quickly introduce myself, StakeWise, and the V3 protocol. So, my name is Jordan Sutcliffe. I'm the business development lead at StakeWise. StakeWise is one of the original liquid staking protocols. We launched way back in 2021. And we've been one of the key innovators in this space. We were the first people to launch non-custodial liquid staking. We were the first protocol to try out dual tokenomics, to try out concentrated liquidity. And we were the first protocol, and sadly still one of the very few protocols that enable forced exits of validators. And so the V3 protocol is just another continuation on this innovative journey. The protocol itself is a brand new model for liquid staking. It unlocks some really cool features and also helps to solve some of the issues that we've seen with the first generation of liquid staking protocols. So what does StakeWise V3 look like? So Ethereum doesn't have a native delegation service on its network, like some of the new proof-of-stake networks. And so we've effectively built that service. StakeWise V3 is a combination of two layers. The first layer is what we call vaults. These are effectively the staking pools on the protocol. So historically, liquid staking protocols have consisted of a single staking pool with a set of node operators staking the capital of that pool. V3 is different. Rather than a single staking pool, we will allow hundreds, thousands to all run in parallel, and each of these will be in vaults. So vaults are a way for anybody to offer trustless, non-custodial staking as a service. They're effectively a layer of smart contracts that sit between node operators and stakers. And as it says on the slide, they're a very comprehensive toolkit for anybody who wants to offer staking as a service. We then have the second layer, the liquid staking token layer, OSETH. And this is what takes StakeWise V3 from just an ETH staking service to a liquid staking service, allowing anybody to access OSETH, access their staked capital to use across DeFi. So quickly diving into each of these layers. So vaults. Each vault, as I mentioned, is effectively a staking pool. They are fully permissionless. Anyone can come in, create their own staking pool on StakeWise, whether you're a single node operator, a group of node operators, or even an entity like a wallet looking to offer staking as a service. You can come in, create a vault, create a staking pool within the V3 ecosystem. They are fully isolated. Each vault is its own unique smart contract. So all the risks, all the rewards are very much isolated into each vault. And it's also non-custodial. There's never any point that we, as StakeWise, take custody of assets, nor do the underlying node operators. The flow of funds is truly controlled by the stakers. They can stake and unstake whenever they desire. And these vaults are highly customizable. We're literally giving anybody the building blocks to create their own, build their own staking solution. For example, they could be public. That means anyone can then delegate and stake within this pool. Or they could be private, which means only whitelisted addresses can stake. As a vault creator, you can specify the staking fee. You can specify who the node operators are. You can specify what staking configuration you run. You can even specify whether or not deposits get tokenized into an ERC20 token. And if they do, you can name that token and the ticker. As well as being customizable, they're fully automated. As I mentioned, they're a very comprehensive solution for staking as a service. They accept deposits, delegations of any size. They get tokenized. They get pooled. And validators are automatically spun up off the back of these delegations and automatically shut down when the stakers want to unstake. And the staking fees are also accrued automatically. So, as I mentioned, a very comprehensive solution for people who want to offer staking as a service. And this vaults layer effectively creates like a free and open marketplace for anybody to offer liquid staking. The second layer is OSETH, over-collateralized staked ETH. And this is the token, the main liquid staking token of Stakewise that will go live with V3. And this sits atop all of these staking pools, or all of the vaults, and allow anybody staking into one of these vaults to access DeFi. The clue is kind of in the name. It's an over-collateralized token. This is a key piece to ensure that any penalties in one vault do not filter through to the rest of the ecosystem. And so that over-collateralization helps protect against losses such as slashing. And the liquidity and integrations are fully handled by Stakewise DAO. So we're effectively creating this entire liquidity ecosystem for anybody to come in and plug into. So that's V3 in a nutshell. When V3? If Stakewise got $1 for every time this question got asked, we would never need to do another funding round. We announced this back in September last year. We had a private testnet back in February. That was an overwhelming success. We had over 30 entities involved, from commercial node operators through to solo stakers. Lots of feedback and lots of just battle testing of the Vault's architecture. And the V3 contracts all went into their final round of audits 3 weeks ago today, actually. So this protocol is ready to launch once those audits are completed. Now, there's one thing we promised before we launched this protocol, and that was a public testnet. And that is what officially goes live today. So the testnet is... the testnet is codenamed Pacific. The URL is there, and this is a culmination of the best part of a year's work of design and development. So it's super exciting to get people getting involved and experimenting and playing with this system before it goes live on mainnet. And that is what I'm going to cover for the rest of the presentation. Quickly, I'm going to walk through the different features of V3 and how it can be used on testnet. So this is the home page you'll land on when you visit the testnet. V3 has extra complexities, but those complexities brings extra functionality. But it's super important that we allow anybody a very simple staking experience. And this is what this page effectively offers. People who just want to what we call one-click stake. You can see the APY. Okay, it's a bit low. It's on the testnet, so that's not going to be real. But the APY and the projected rewards, and you can simply select how much ETH you want to stake, hit stake, and at that point, you are staking. Remember that OSETH is a repricing token. So simply holding that token gives you staking rewards. And by buying OSETH in this fashion, you get the full benefits of the over-collateralization. You get a token which has built-in slashing protection, and you also accrue the yield from a highly diverse set of node operators. And so as far as liquid staking tokens go, it's pretty gold standard. And then if you want to unstake, you can simply hit the unstake tab, select how much you want to unstake, and process the transaction. Staking doesn't really get any simpler than that. We then have a more advanced option where people who want to have a more bespoke staking experience. So these are people who want to cherry pick which vaults, which staking pool they want to stake with. Maybe they want to stake with solo stakers or those running a certain MEV relay. They're able to do this. And so the vaults page or the vaults marketplace details what all these different staking pools look like, their names, their descriptions, the branding effectively, their APYs, the TVLs, and the scores, and each of these can be filtered depending on your preference. A note on the score, this is going to be a key piece of the ecosystem that's going to be finalized over the coming weeks, and we're going to be asking members of the community to give their opinions on how that score is designed. We've got our ideas as a core team, but we want, it's a really important part of the protocol. We want other people's say on this, so stay tuned for that one. But effectively, you can then cherry pick which staking pool you would like to stake into. So let's say you would like to stake with a solo staker community. You can then select their vault. You can then see details such as the APY, the TVL, the description, and lots of other details on the vault's page. If you like what you see, it's very simple to stake. Simply hit the stake button, and again, specify how much you wish to stake, and enter and just confirm the transaction. At this point, you are staking. Providing there's enough ETH in the vault for validators, At this point, you are staking. It's not liquid staking, but you're still accessing the staking rewards courtesy of the ETH staker community. If you want to get access to your staked capital across DeFi, then you can mint OSETH, the liquid staking token. And again, very similar UI here. Specify how much OSETH you want to mint, and then execute the transaction. Remember I said OSETH is over-collateralized. You'll notice here that the maximum that I could mint on my staked capital is about 18 OSETH. The LTV is going to be 90%. I still earn the 20 ETHs worth of staking yield that I originally staked into the pool, but I can only make up to 18 liquid. But that's that extra capital buffer that is important to help protect the whole ecosystem. But essentially, yes, you can make your capital liquid to access DeFi, and then you can do whatever you want with it. You can sell some of these OSETH on the market if you want to access some capital on demand. You can use them in DeFi. And when it's time to unstake, you simply have to return the OSETH you originally minted, and then you'll be able to submit for a native staking withdrawal from the vault. So one of the key things that this protocol also offers is the ability for solo stakers to mint a liquid staking token against their own node. Solo stakers are the gold standard for decentralization, and historically they've had to choose between solo staking and liquid staking. And this V3 architecture removes that decision. You can do both. So as a solo staker, it's very quick and easy to create your own vault where you're the node operator on StakeWise V3. So I'll run you through a quick example here. The vault literally takes about 2 minutes to set up using the UI. You can specify how much capacity you want the vault to be, the vault fee. Given you're staking your own capital, it can be 0 in this case. Whether you want that ERC20 token for deposits, again, it's not necessary if you're a solo staker just looking to stake your own capital. But maybe you want to make it private. You don't want to be staking capital of other people's. You can make the vault private, so only you or maybe your close friends can stake. You then choose whether you want to join the smoothing pool. The smoothing pool will be a place where MEV across the entire StakeWise ecosystem will be shared across all vaults that enter the smooth it pool. But you don't have to. If you want to run your own MEV, then you can absolutely do that. And finally, you can add vault branding. Again, as a solo staker, this is not super important. So I've just added a few random title and description there. But that's literally it. At that point, you now have a vault. The last thing to do is to set up your node. And that is a case of pre-signing some validator keys, uploading the deposit data file to the vault. And yeah, you can then simply stake and mint OSETH in exactly the same fashion as I showed with the ETH staker vault. It's a very, very simple process, and one that we really hope does push decentralization as we get more and more solo stakers, or more and more people who would have liquid staked originally, now doing so, but via their own nodes, essentially. I'm conscious I'm quickly running out of time here. So there's lots of interesting use cases that this V3 architecture unlocks. I've covered a couple already. Another one is that you can create bespoke staking solutions. If you're a fund, if you're a DAO, who's got a lot of capital to stake, for example, you can create a private staking pool where it's just your capital. You can work with your preferred node operators, whether it's solo stakers, commercial, or a mixture of both, and create a bespoke staking solution that probably saves a lot of fees, essentially, that you would pay elsewhere. And you still have the ability to access a liquid staking token, should you desire. So V3 is also a white label liquid staking solution. Remember I said you can choose whether you want to mint, whether you want your vault to have an ERC20 token. If you enable that ERC20 token, then StakeWise literally gives you an entire solution to offer your own liquid staking right out the box. And if you want to, you can create liquidity and integrations for that token. What the majority of people will do, however, is they will just create their own staking pool and leverage off the liquidity and integrations that StakeWise provides for OSETH. And so this is a way for anybody to sell liquid staking directly to their own users and clients. And there's much more. There's lots of companies that are already building on top of V3. Blockscape announced their institutional staking solution using this infrastructure a couple of weeks back. And there's a couple more exciting partnerships that we've got coming up that we're looking to announce over the coming weeks. So that's pretty much a wrap. It'll be great to kind of get people's involvement in this protocol. We have some time, not too long, but we have the potential for feedback and improvements before the mainnet launch, so we'd love to hear those. And we'd also love to hear about the fantastic ways that you're able to leverage this architecture. There's lots of new methods that we haven't even thought of yet. And so it'll be great to get everybody involved and see how they can leverage this ecosystem to liquid stake on their own terms. And that's it. Thank you, everyone.